Oh, and we're back here at Pull the Pin Podcast. We are live.
Phones
we are.
ringing again.
Phones ringing. It's been slow all day, apparently. And when the podcast is about to start, boom.
Well, if you guys need golf balls, please come to PTP. Just quick plug for the store. Holy H&F Tire. We just got every possible thing that you could want golf ball wise in.
I mean, that's what it looks like over there.
It's like 45 boxes worth of things and goodies, bags, clubs, putters, all of it. Come see us.
I've never seen so many wedges, so many brand new wedges.
Unbelievable, right?
It's nuts. All right, so it's been about a month.
It has.
We have not been on the air in about a month. We took some time off after the Masters. Scotty Scheffler.
What can you say?
Actually, no, we did.
We did talk about
Zurich.
yeah.
We did the Zurich
after So we did talk about the Masters.
But it's still been, I don't know, 2-3 weeks. This time of year, we just get a little busy. Here comes Tommy. He's going to kick Matt out of his seat. Matt, you have the invite on your computer. I know you're
God,
eating.
I'm so hungry.
Tommy, welcome back.
Welcome back to you, sir.
Thank you. It's good to be back. Yeah. It's been a busy start to the spring. A lot of golf, a lot of work.
Yep.
It's just the way it goes, right?
Yep.
All right. So we should probably get right back into it, though. We got the Wells Fargo last week.
Yep.
Max Homa, our boy Max Homa, coming through with a win. I did bet last week. I did not bet on Max Homa, so I'm going to sit here and admit to
there's a little rust.
I decided to bet the week before we started the podcast back up.
Yeah.
Literally just so if I lost, I didn't feel that bad about it.
Yeah. There you go.
But I did my homework this week. I love my picks this week. Homa racks up his 4th career tour victory, 2nd of the year and 3rd in the last 2 years. He's really solidifying himself as a good tour player.
Yeah. He's someone to take seriously for sure.
Does his game translate to a major? As we are a week away from our next major, 2 weeks away.
Why not? He's won at Riviera.
Yep.
I mean, he wins a tournament where 8 under. Obviously, it was very tough conditions,
Yep.
a lot of rain. Like, this is about as bad a scoring conditions as they can get outside of it being soft, maybe from the rain.
Yep.
But I mean, finishes at 8 under to win. So I mean, he's won in tough weather conditions. He's won at tough courses. So why not? I need to do a deeper dive into his actual game before I'm ready to say that, like whether he's ready to win a U.S. Open or something like that. But just saw on Golf Channel, did a really good interview afterwards, and he was talking about how he's been out on this tour where he's won $1 million in a year. He's been out on this tour where he's won $18,000 in a year.
Yep.
And so, he's been through seasons where, he's just trying to make enough to keep going.
Right.
And there's other days where there's other weeks where he's ready to go.
I think he's a little different than some of the other guys who are breaking through right now. 31 years old. He's not 24, 25.
Yeah.
So he's been around the block. I like that point. Perspective is everything. He talked about that in his post-round interview on Sunday.
It was cool. Sorry, I got distracted because I thought there was a customer. But he said he feels a lot less pressure than some other people, knowing when he's a shot back or something like that, because he's been in a position in his mind, he's like, okay, whether I catch this guy or not, I'm going to make over $100,000 this tournament.
Right.
And being in years where he didn't come close to making that all year.
Right.
So he's like, look, if I don't get there, I don't get there, but it helps me actually end up getting there because it just is a variable that doesn't phase him as much.
You're not playing for your livelihood at this point. You're playing to win. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's playing for his livelihood because it's his job. But he's not paying to get to his next tournament.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's where a lot of guys kind of get
lost.
And
then he made the comment that he's in a great position going into the PGA in 2 weeks, which was, I'm like, all right, look, if you don't bet on yourself, no one will. So
well, and that's what he kept saying. He's just believing in himself more and more each week out there, which is great.
Yeah.
A couple other notes from the Wells Fargo. Cam Young finishes tied T2 to give him 4 top 3 finishes this year as a rookie.
Yeah.
A guy that I really like coming down the stretch. He might be a Scotty Scheffler type of pick for me next year when I come out with my guys to break through. Matt Fitzpatrick, your favorite, finishes T2 to give him 5 top 10s this year.
When did that happen? I missed that.
I know. I went back through the numbers. I was kind of.
That's on the PGA Tour.
Yes.
Not like the Asian Tour.
Nope. PGA Tour.
Just
5 top
sure.
10s. Yep.
Okay.
He backed into one at the Arnold Palmer.
A lot of people did.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can't hate on him for that.
But hey, Now, when we're talking top 10s, are we talking like 10th and 9th place finishes, or
he has 2 top 5s and 3 outside of the top 5.
Sounds good.
Keegan gives it away after a solid week, and then was kind of a douchebag at the handshake with Max Homa.
Yeah, 2 doubles, just probably salty about giving it away there.
Yeah, I gotta. He's catching a lot of flack for it. I don't think Homa's upset about it, and if Homa's not upset about it, I don't think anybody should be upset about it. Yeah. I think Homa watched him kind of implode down the stretch and was like, "Okay, man, cool. I'm sorry, that sucks."
Look, in our league this last week, I shot 90, and I basically, I had my head down. I just shook their hands and walked to the cart. Like I wasn't like sitting there patting their back. Like,
right. Yeah.
And even though obviously Keegan Bradley didn't shoot 90, it probably felt like that, making 2 doubles down the stretch, and knowing that he probably should have won. And I'm sure he was just ready to get back home and forget about this and move on to the next thing. But at the end of the day, probably made $600,000, so he'll be all right.
He'll be just fine, wearing his Jordans and looking like a dumbass. Anyway, he's a good player. I just
putt really well.
Yeah, he did. Mm-hmm. Rory plays 3 rounds again.
Yeah,
I mean, literally, it's just and. When we get into the guys that are playing this week, I say this about DJ, so I'm going to kind of kill my point early, but I just cannot get behind these guys who are not playing a lot, like Rory and DJ, and then they come out and they play 3 good rounds. You're playing 3 good rounds because you're not playing enough.
Yeah,
you're playing like once a month.
You're the opposite of Sanjay M.
Exactly, yeah.
Sanjay plays pretty good rounds because he's like tired.
Because it's like I'm a little chubby and I had to walk 400 miles this week. Like
again.
Ricky Fowler, T21. Joe. Oh, I don't think Joe's watching yet, but Joe, T21 for Ricky. Are we back? Are we back?
We're not done. I'm done with like. Like if Rory plays 1 round, Ricky plays like a 9,
right? Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like
no, I know.
No, but like
I brought it up
he
more
shoots
because
4 under the first day and makes a beautiful eagle on a par 4 and makes us but then does something so Ricky and makes holes out for 5 for bogey.
Right.
Holes out a full wedge shot. It wasn't like he chipped in to save bogey.
No, it was a full 100 and some yard wedge that
happened to go in and could have easily been a 7. And then he goes out. But I mean. But how much of that is Ricky and how much of it was, God, it just downpoured on him for 2 days?
Right, yeah. No, I just wanted to bring it up in case Joe was tuning in.
And that's the other thing I would say. The only pass I'll give to Rory, it was like his bad round was Friday when it was really bad.
Yeah, but he's I know that he doesn't play well in those conditions, but where he's from says he should play well.
I just saying, like when the club is barely staying in your hand, like what point is that it? Or
I got you.
I think I'm going to give him a slight pass, but you're right. And then I'm sure you just want to go off on this last.
Yeah, hold on before we go anywhere. Are there any customers in the store?
I think we're good.
Okay, Sergio, shut the fuck up. You're one of the guys I'll be happy to see go when this whole Saudi league starts. Go hang out with Greg Norman and his merry men and his third leg Greg and all that bullshit. Just go. The official was wrong, and that sucks. All right, but you knew you were on the mic. You knew everybody out there was going to hear it and that you were going to be in the news because of this, and that's why I fucking hate you. Mm-hmm. You are a terrible, terrible person for golf. Because that's just inappropriate. You don't need to do that to a rules official. They admitted the rule was wrong, and it sucks. That happens all over sports, and I'm just tired.
Look at Angel Hernandez. I mean,
but I'm just so tired of just when you think Sergio's finally matured, just when you think he's finally gotten himself to I'm an old timer. I've got a major. I can be kind of lovable now. It's like, nope, throw it completely out the window. I'm still a piece of shit. 100%. Still a piece of shit.
How do you really feel about it?
Anyway. Oh, God, that made me so mad. Where are you at with it? I feel like it was more premeditated than anybody wants to think because they were one of the ESPN or the PGA Tour Live groups. Yeah. So he knows there's mics there. I
mean, I just feel like it's an empty threat, realistically. You know what I mean? But like, it's not a good look for golf as a whole. Is the problem is now this is the problem, which I everyone's been talking about, and I didn't see it until right now. Really,
I saw you watching it on.
Well, it's like this is the real threat of the other tour. Even now, granted, it's not a full year. Like you can't make realistically, you're not going to make a living unless you win on this tour because you're only playing 8 times a year or whatever. But it's a legitimate threat is the PGA it's a bad ruling or they fine a guy for something he feels like he shouldn't get fined. He's going to be like, all right, fuck you, I'm leaving.
But
and there's nothing they can do about that. And then the PGA has to put their their tail between their legs and be like, oh, we're sorry, like, don't leave, like,
But does Sergio think that they're not going to enforce the rules or make rules mistakes in this new tour? Like that, or in these new events? Like, that's my thing with it, right? Like, where it's like, people make mistakes, especially in a game like golf where there are so many rules, right? Like, I was just,
it's a miracle. But how many rules there are in golf? There's a miracle that there aren't more penalties.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, the fact that, like, your ball can just rotate an eighth of a rotation, but without you touching it, it's like, that's a penalty. And that's, like, I know they've made some changes to that, but,
right. But, but it's still, like, I guess my thing is, you make that comment, right? You can't wait to leave this tour. You make that comment, and it makes it sound like what just happened to you couldn't happen on the other the other stage.
Yeah,
which is completely false.
Yeah,
like, just if you want to make arguments about the PGA Tour, because there are arguments, make them valid.
Yeah,
don't make them emotionally on camera with a mic by you, because then you're just a douchebag.
Yeah,
then you're just a fucking idiot who doesn't understand the way things work.
That was a mini Phil moment, really. Like, that was him.
I've made a commitment that I refuse to talk about Phil on this podcast.
I'm just saying, like, the idea that, like, he went out of his way. He probably doesn't, like, that was a publicity, like, F the PGA Tour, look at me thing that, like, holds no weight whatsoever.
Right.
And, like, at the end of the day, I mean, when's the last time you've heard of the rules official, like, deeming a golf tournament? The last thing I can think of was when Lexi Thompson got absolutely shafted, like 48 hours later, and they're like, oh, by the way, like, this was actually a 2-stroke penalty. Then you also signed a wrong card, but you didn't know it, so we're giving you another 2-stroke penalty.
Right.
Like that was the worst instance of golf, and that made me really mad. And, like, I just, like, went off. I remember on, like, social media saying the USGA sucks and everything. But
and what was it with DJ in the U.S. Open hitting out of a
waste area, but it was actually a bunker.
Right.
But you couldn't tell it was a bunker because it was rock through. But you know what? That's on his caddy, in my opinion. You should be like, look, this is a bunker.
Yeah.
Like, where's his caddy in that situation? But look, both those instances we're referring to are over 5 years ago.
Right.
This isn't like, Schwarber breaking his bat over his knee because Angel Hernandez is god awful at umpiring. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was, we talk about that every time he steps on a diamond. You know what I mean? But so I don't buy it. Like,
no.
And it's, you know what? At the end of the day, and I say it time and time again, you don't want that rule. Don't hit it in a fucking hazard. You know what I mean? If you hit it down the middle of the fairway, this probably isn't an issue, right?
Right.
Like, you can't, if your ball's center cut, you're probably not losing it, and there's no timer in the first place. So, you know what? You don't like it, hit a better shot,
All right. I got it out of my system. You good on that one now? All right. So, AT&T Byron Nelson coming up this week, May 12th to the 15th. Tpc Craig Ranch. This will be the second year that they've played at this venue. McKinney, Texas. Par 72. It's a long one. Yardage 7,468.
Sure, it won't play that long.
That's the way it sounds. Purse is $9.1 million. Winner will get $1,638,000.
These purses this year are just nuts. Man, inflation, right?
Defending champion is KH Lee, but if you go back and look at the field last year, not nearly as strong. It was. I shouldn't say not nearly as strong. There are some players that played last year who have really taken strides in their game to make them considered stronger this year.
Yeah, and if you're looking to who to bet on this week, all you have to go is look at the state flag next to their name, because if they're from Texas, you better think about it.
Well, I mean, you've got Scotty Scheffler, number one player in the world. This will be the world's first second appearance since becoming a major champion. He's won 4 times this year and has a runner-up to add to that. You got to bet the guy every time he steps on the course right now. This will be Scotty's 4th trip to TPC to this tournament, second to Craig's Ranch. Excuse my typo there. In his home state of Texas, he doesn't have a great finisher last year, but he isn't the same guy he was last year.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think you can compare.
Emily or Emily Bloom.
My only thoughts with this is,
sorry, wife, I'm not talking to you.
my only thoughts with this is like, did he make a mistake? Like, I'm sure he had his schedule planned out, well in advance of this year. He had no idea how he was going to do.
Right.
But when you're on a heater like that,
taking some time off.
Yeah, don't you just want to just, to play? I mean, the Masters was over a month ago now, or it was a month ago.
Well, yeah, and then he played in the Zurich and placed 18th or something like that.
Yeah. Maybe it's not as I guess that's only been a month, but
for him, I don't think it's a big deal. I think he's very DJ like in that he's not phased by much. You don't see a whole lot of emotion. I think guys that need to play the heater are guys who feed off of the heater.
Yeah.
I don't think he feeds off of it. I think this is something that, I don't think some time off's bad for him. It might even be good for him.
I mean, I'm sure there's a fine line there between getting, trying to ride it, burn out, versus sticking to the plan, I guess. But interesting to see him only playing twice since then. I guess it isn't as long as it seems like, but so Masters feels like a long time ago, and
it does feel like a long time ago. But I'm definitely betting him this week. You can't not bet him at this point.
Yeah.
Next on the list would be Justin Thomas. He's number 8 in the world. Has played in this event once before and finished 55th. That was not at Craig's Ranch. It's been close to a month since we have seen JT, RBC Heritage. This looks like a week to knock the rust off before the PGA. Of course, like Craig Ranch is all about approach play, and JT is one of the best there is. I mean, the talk is approach and putting, right? So his putter has not been on fire, but his approach play is as good as anybody on tour. Knock it close, you don't have to worry about the putter so much. So I like JT a lot this week. You've got Spieth next, number 9 in the world.
Isn't that fun to see him back in the top 10?
It is.
Yeah,
it is. Mr. Spieth has a shot this week for sure. On a birdie-making track that irons and putting are huge, he's never a bad play unless his putter keeps putting the way it has been, which I can't imagine it would. He's too good a putter to keep it going that way. He did play here last year, T9, 18 under. So he feels good about the place, I believe. What do you think about Spieth this week as I stumble over all the stuff I wrote because I have a different format of how I did it?
You gotta, again, anytime Jordan Spieth plays in Texas, like I said, you gotta think about him.
Yep.
But, he already won a tournament this year without his putter.
Yep.
He can only putt better, you would think. There's no way he could putt any worse, right?
Yep.
And, taking maybe a week or two off here and getting back to playing some good golf. He's coming off a win. His last outing, I believe, was his win. So, and ironically, something you never really used to say about Jordan Spieth is that his iron play is super strong.
Right.
And, that's not true. He holds out quite a bit.
His irons are great. It's off the tee that he gets in trouble.
But
and it doesn't sound like that's an issue here.
Now that you're saying, approach play is so important, and he's nobody hitting it quite like Spieth, other than maybe, Scotty Scheffler. But even he's not necessarily knocking down flag sticks. He's just playing good golf, But
Scheffler's short game has been absurd. He's up and down all the time. Spieth, right now, I think the last couple of tournaments, he'd probably almost rather have a wedge in his hand than a putter.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Bet. Me too.
Next on the list, DJ at number 10 in the world. Missed the cut at the RBC and had an up-and-down Masters tournament. I'm not really sure who DJ is at this point in his career. He's 37 years old. He's played just 8 times this year, missed the cut twice, and finished in the top 10 twice. In a tournament where you have to make a lot of birdies, the DJ of old would be a sure pick. I don't think he's that guy right now. He isn't over the hill. That's not what I'm saying. I just don't think he's playing enough. Like I was saying to you about Rory, like these guys who are playing, the season's been going on.
Yeah.
For a long time now. You have 8 tournaments under your belt?
Yeah, you think you're talking about going back to like October.
Yeah.
We are now in May.
Yep.
We've already played the Players and the Masters, and we're still talking about you like easing your way into your season.
Well, and
like,
that's the whole thing. So take those 2 tournaments out of play. He's played 6 times.
Yeah.
Right? So I just don't think he's playing enough to be a guy to think about.
Does he think that he's good enough where he doesn't have to like play as much?
It's either that or he just wants to be at home with Paulina, which I can't blame the guy.
Fair, but
right.
So but I just like, but then you hear him in interviews and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not done. Like I'm still hungry."
Right.
But then
he doesn't
there.
Play.
Yeah, never there, and he hasn't threatened a win yet.
Right.
I mean, I have 2 top 10s, but he wasn't not like he was.
No, he wasn't fighting for it on Sunday.
No.
Number 11, Sam Burns. So I'm not taking DJ this week is basically what that meant. Number 11, Sam Burns. 6 top 10s, 5 top 5s, a runner-up, and 2 wins this year. He's been really good. I mean, you just can't say anything other than that about the guy. T2 here last year at this course. It fits his game. He will be in the top 10 this week.
Yep. I mean, he's a poor man Scotty Scheffler right now.
Yep.
Really is.
Well, I mean, he's player of the year. Scotty Scheffler doesn't win 4 tournaments.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, I mean,
still could be if he wins a few more. He wins a major.
Yeah, he's going to have to win a major and rack off
could be quite a battle if he can get it going. I mean,
that would be a
throw
ton of fun,
Hovland
right?
in there if he wins a major, you know. So
forgot Victor Hovland even plays golf.
Yep.
Xander Schauffele, number 12. Surprise, surprise. Xander finally won an event, but needed a partner to do it.
No surprise there.
Not betting on him. Hideki Matsuyama, number 13, hasn't played since the Masters, but anytime ball striking is a good idea. Hideki needs to be talked about. Sadly, is negative .204 shots gained putting, strokes gained putting, good for 154th on tour. Means he probably won't be your guy this week. That's just my general feeling on it.
Yeah.
And then I totally contradict myself and 2 guys down the road.
I don't know. Like, he's just still so. I mean, I think about him being like such a like elite ball striker, and then I also think about him in the President's Cup when he had the chunks. Like, and it's just like, and that's literally you just never know what you're gonna get.
He is so relatable to me in that way because there are days, and not like PGA Tour hot, but like I can stripe my irons one day, and then the next day come out and I just look like a completely different person. It's. I feel you, Hideki. I wish I felt your wallet, but I feel you. Next on the list, number 16, Joaquin Niemann. The Chilean will continue the year of Niemann by playing well this week. Maybe a top 20. I don't see him winning though. Brooks, we haven't seen Slim Shady since the Masters. He is no doubt trying to knock off some rust before the PGA. I don't trust him to play well, so he probably will. Not on my list of guys this week though.
No, I mean.
He's shown me nothing this year that says he's going to win a tournament.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I mean, not even at the major.
Right.
He didn't even show up really for the Masters. That being said, he'll probably win the PGA. But, like, who knows? Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I have to go back and listen to our podcast because apparently I remember I already took all my major winners, but I forget who they are.
Oh, man. Well, it's up there somewhere.
Yeah.
Next, where I completely contradict my talk about Hideki is why the hell not for Will Zalatoris at number 28. He isn't statistically a good putter for the year, but over his last 8 events, he leads the field in strokes gained putting. This could be where he gets the monkey off his back. He was T16 here last year, so there's that too.
And a hell of a ball striker.
Yeah.
In and out, not streaky.
No, he is not streaky about that at all. Then we've got Kisner at 29, hasn't played in this event for some time. He fits the mold of the approach and putting, but not sure if he's long enough for this course.
I mean, history would say it's over 7,100 yards, so it kind of rules him out.
Yep. I think you're right, though. I think the course will play a bit shorter just by seeing how some of the guys last year that were in the hunt did. So he's not a bad pick for the odds you're going to get.
No, and just like I'm thinking, Texas mid or early May, it's probably starting to heat up there, getting hard.
Yep.
Ball's going to roll out. Generally speaking, on these Texas courses, you're not talking about thick rough.
Right.
So
I can't grow
you can still get it there, even if you don't. If you're losing some yards being in the rough, but then you're going to catch a flyer anyway and get there. Definitely not ruling them out. Dear Jesus, with your next comment, why?
Read the whole thing.
Just go ahead.
Jason Kokrak at number 30, another big Texan. I'm back on the train, Joe. I don't think Joe's watching today, of course. He should be able to find himself in the top 20. Sneaky pick with fun odds, but not my favorite for the week. I like him for a top 20, Tommy. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are we okay?
Okay.
All right.
He hasn't done anything. Like anything.
No, he hasn't.
He
Not
really
in
hasn't.
over a year.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Gooch at number 34. Sam Burns will tee off for his second 18 at some point Thursday, and I'm guessing play pretty well. I like the Gooch this week a lot.
Like the Gooch.
I always knew you liked the Gooch.
Yeah. No, not the Coochie, the Gooch.
Why do you have Adam Scott on?
What's that?
Like you just have nothing under Adam Scott.
Because he's a top 50 player. I don't have anything under Tom Hoagie either. That's what I feel about them this week.
Okay, I mean, I thought Tom Hoagie was your guy.
He's. I
Those
don't.
15 minutes are finally over.
No, I don't feel that way about it. I just don't think this fits him. I don't think this course fits him. I don't think it's a place that he plays well. So he will. Adam Scott, he just doesn't putt it well enough for me, even though his stats say he putts better than I think he does. I don't see it for him, so nothing on him. I do love the next guy on the list at number 40, Seamus Power this week. T9 here last year, great approach player, good putter. It's all about whether or not he gets off the tee like we saw at Pebble Beach when he lost his tee ball.
Has he done anything since then, though?
Yes, he has. He hasn't played that badly. In fact, I should have wrote this down. I'm sorry that I didn't. Tommy, dead air. Talk.
Well, you know, I mean, the last thing I remember is him shooting $1 million in round 3 at Pebble Beach, right before Spieth almost died. So
That's right. Spieth did almost die.
So that's the only kind of hold up I have about it. But
I got you.
when he gets going with the putter, he can get it going with the putter.
Well, that's why he's a pick this week, right? He's a top 50 player. His odds are going to be decent.
I thought he was going to be our Wills Outdoors this year, but didn't really shape up that way. That's okay.
Dear God, we're 0.412 putting, strokes game putting.
What we got here? Whole lot of nothing.
He's missed the last 2 cuts, but he was T27 at the Masters. So
Ooh, T27. He's on a heater, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't
he got
think he
in
needs
the
to be
top
on
30.
a heater. Yeah.
Watch out.
Always hating. 43, Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy's got to do something for me to actually think that he's going to compete on the PGA Tour.
Well, he did beat Rich Shields when he gave him 10 shots. So, I mean, there's that. No, sorry, they actually tied. So, you can't even beat a YouTuber.
And then you've got Mark Leishman, who almost killed his playing partner at the Wells Fargo the other day with a sand shot that he S-worded. But I don't dislike Leishman this week. I think he's a guy that could play well here.
I love the next pick.
Sepp Straka is going to win this week.
Okay. I respect that.
It'll be his second win of the year, and he's putting Austria on the map. Boom.
Wow.
Yep.
Go Austria.
All right, my list outside of the top 50. Adam Hadwin. He's been playing really well with 3 top 10s in his previous 5 events, and he is one of 5 players in the top 30 in approach, putting, birdies coming into this week. He's just been a guy that's been really consistent. So I like him a lot this week. I don't know that he's a winner. Stop peeing in that cup. That is just gross. I don't know if I'm taking him. I'll take him to win, but I'm looking top 5, top 10 for him. Lanto Griffin coming off a T15 and a T6 and also falling into that stat above makes him a really nice pick this week. Mav McNeely outside of the short game. He is in the top 50 in all the major strokes gained categories. He has been steady this year, 1 runner-up and 2 top 10s, but I think he makes a leap soon.
He's going to have a win one of these days.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And I never got my bet in on him that I wanted, that he would make the Tour Championship this year, but it's definitely still in the realm of possibility.
JJ Spawn, his win earlier this year was in Texas. Let's make it 2 and make me look like a genius for saying it. So he's not a huge pick, but a guy that I don't dislike. Love Bubba Watts this week. First time playing this event, but loves courses like this. Birdie fests are what guys like him just die for. If the putter gets hot, look out for him. Big week. I'll definitely bet him to win, and you'll get great odds too. Rasmus Højgaard, another first timer at this event. I'm not going to lie, I just love the name. Worth a gold ring or 2. And then Keith Mitchell, Ball striking, birdie making, Keith fucking Mitchell.
Yeah, he'll be good right up until Sunday, and then he'll
Fair enough.
And then he'll make me not win $1,200 because he can't apparently putt from the fringe. So,
all right.
fuck him.
I do have the top 10 in the field based on an 8-tournament window that stretches back to the Valspar. So strokes gained off the tee: Cameron Champ, Eric Van Rooyen, Scotty Scheffler, Mito Pereira, Will Zalatoris, Matt McNeely. Mito's not a bad pick this week because he's a great ball striker and putter. Matt McNeely, Jordan Spieth, JJ Spawn, Brooks Koepka, Brian Harmon. You got to be proud of me for not having Brian Harmon on my list this week.
Man. Well, no, because it's a long course. That's the only reason you didn't. If it was like 7,300 yards, he'd be on there.
Top 25 strokes gained approach: Scheffler, Thomas, Hadwin, Leishman, Swafford, Vegas, Burns, Pan, Smotherman, Stenson. Ooh, Henrik Stenson's playing this week. There's a bet that wouldn't go anywhere. Strokes gained around the green: Scheffler, Sabatini, Spieth, Zalatoris, Kuchar, Hadwin, Pat Perez, David Skins, Danny Willett, Ryan Armour.
All these stats just tell you that all it's saying is Scotty Scheffler is really fucking good at golf.
Yeah, well, it keeps continuing.
I know.
Top 25 strokes gained tee to green, or top 10 strokes gained tee to green: Scheffler, Hadwin, Koepka, Thomas, Spieth, Stenson, Zalatoris, Pereira, McNeely, Vegas.
Guess you gotta give Stenson a look, huh? Like $1 to win just in
Sure,
case.
why not?
Yeah.
Strokes gained putting: Gooch, Zalatoris, Noren, Burns, Sabatini, Fleetwood, Scheffler, Harmon, Wolf, Thomas.
Oh, he's slipping. He's down the 7th that
I
time.
know. Strokes gained total: Scheffler, Hadwin, Zalatoris, Thomas, Vegas, McNeely, Fleetwood, Pereira, Burns, Straka.
Jonathan Vegas is another one of those guys that's like apparently
Sneaky.
the best golfer ever alive, but like never
wins.
Not even never wins, just does nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like him and who is it? Cameron something.
No, Tringali.
Tringali.
Yeah,
They're the two best
Cameron
golfers ever lived that absolutely come out to nothing, apparently. Based off strokes gained. They're the kind of people that, like, I think strokes gained is the greatest way to, like, especially from putting, to, like, actually get a feel for where your game is. To, like, when people talk about, like, oh, I had 30 putts this week. I'm like, yeah, but did you hit any greens? No.
Right, yeah.
Cool. And you chipped it to a couple feet a couple times and made putts. Versus, like, no, I hit 18 greens. I still had 30 putts. Like, oh, so you probably knocked in some 18 footers then. Like,
right.
Or something
Yeah.
like, but when there's people like this that are like constantly on these lists, and I'm like, does strokes gained mean anything at all?
Well, it's like, especially when they're on the putting list, but not any other of the other lists.
Yeah.
So it's like,
well,
okay.
I'm talking about Vegas is like, that's overall strokes gained.
Right.
He's apparently 6th best
right.
in the field, like going into this week, right? On a short list, but like, how? But like, has he done anything in the last 8 tournaments he's played in?
So to jump off the PGA Tour and head over to the DP World Tour for a minute.
Okay.
Did you happen to see the way the British Masters finished?
I do not.
I have no idea how to say his first name. Is it Thorben Olesen?
Olsen, yeah.
So he had the lead going into Sunday and blew it and was like 4 or 5 over par and went eagle birdie to win. It was fucking awesome.
That's what he does. That's probably like his like 3rd win this year, I think. On
No,
the
it's his first win in like 4 years.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
I'm thinking of a different guy then
Yeah.
entirely.
He went eagle birdie on Saturday and then went eagle birdie on Sunday to win the tournament. And it was like the putt he hit for birdie on 18 was like a 35, 40-foot snake.
It's just like, I'm not going to give this away.
And he hits it and they don't change the camera angle. And I'm like, you've got to have another camera that shows where this ball is going. Like, you have to. And it's just like going. I'm like, it looks like it's right on line, but they never move the camera and then drop. It was awesome. Super cool finish.
Yeah.
I cannot tell people enough that on Saturday and Sunday mornings, if you're up early and sitting around the house, turn on the European Tour. There is good golf being played and good golfers. That you're
arguably
missing.
harder courses than the PGA Tour.
Yeah, you know what you see more of on the European Tour or on DP World Tour, whatever the heck it's called anymore.
Yeah.
you see a whole lot more tree-lined courses.
Mm-hmm.
See a whole lot more courses where it's not bomb and gouge, right? Like where you have to be in a little bit of a better.
You see a lot more strategically designed courses, like
Well,
long par fours where there are like runouts to the fairway where it's like, look, this is a 440-yard par four, but you hit it more than 260 and you're dead. So it's like it's got to be 3-wood or 5-wood and like a long iron. You know what I mean? So.
Sorry. The other interesting thing about those courses, most of them are a lot older.
Yeah.
So
they're not perfect. They don't have perfect greens.
Right.
Like they're shaggy. They can be slow, and like you see guys like hammering balls together the hole, and it's a little bit more relatable than certain courses that like you and I would play. You know what I mean? So.
All right, so that's my pitch for the DP World Tour, and then I wanted to touch on the Rapsodo.
Okay.
So, bought a Rapsodo, getting ready to start my golf coaching career. Mm-hmm. So, wanted to get some ideas on how to get better feedback for high school age players, and came in here was that Saturday morning? I came in. Yep. Came in on Saturday and just set it up next to the TrackMan. I mean, I would say inside the difference was 3 to 8 yards. Sometimes closer to total, sometimes closer to carry. So that was a little fidgety. They were very clear in all the reviews and all of their own stuff that it's not built for inside. It's not an inside device. Like you can use it with a net and it's going to give you some feedback, but like that's not your best bet. So I didn't buy it for inside. I have options inside. I can come here and play if I want to, right. Or if we want to go over to enjoy golf with the team or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So yesterday when the rain finally stopped, I got it out at my house and hit balls in my backyard. Nothing except for the 3 out of the 40 it didn't read was more than 3 to 5 yards off. Nothing. In fact, I had a 10-ball stretch where it was the number. Like, walked out with the rangefinder, shot back to see where we were at. I was like, okay. So far, so good. Mm-hmm. Going to the range after this, I'm going to get it out at the range and just knock some balls around with it and see what it does there. It is because at home I was nothing outside of 150. Mm-hmm. And they say the higher up you go, the less accurate it's going to be, which that makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I also don't really need to know if my driver goes 268 or 271. Right. Like
you're just getting it out there.
Right.
What a device like that is huge for, especially as like you're going to start coaching, right? Yep. Is like, what are you going to harp on your guys anyways? Probably wedge distances and short game, right? So if they can go to the range. I don't know if you guys have a home range. Like, where's your home?
Conestoga.
So you go to Conestoga's range. I know they have multiple flags out there, mm-hmm. right? And I know there's one right around 100. If they can sit there and be like, okay, I hit that wedge 94 yards. I hit that wedge 73 yards. Like, that's way more important than even if you're getting out to 200 yards with a 5-iron. It's like if you're flying your 5-iron 198 or 201 at the level of golf we're playing is not as nearly as important. Right. Or you're not going to make a bigger improvements and compared to just knowing your wedge distances. So, I mean, something like that, anything that gives you semi-accurate feedback.
Yep.
And for what, $300, $200?
It was $399.
Okay.
So, I mean, and that was with a discount code. I got it for $150 because I emailed them and I was like, hey, I'm going to be a high school coach. I'd love to use your product. And they were like, oh, well, here, we can give you this discount and this discount. Plus I had a discount code, ended up about $150. So most people would
even
be $399 to $499. Yeah.
I mean, just to get some kind of relevant feedback, it's huge, right? It's better than going to the range and pounding balls and being like, that flag there is about 100 yards.
I think the part that really blew me away was 80 yards in it.
Yeah.
It was within a yard of every swing, 80 yards in it.
Yeah.
And there's a part of the game that is so hard for people to dial it, right, and to get that feel for it. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, like, for a guy like me, I don't struggle with confidence on the course. I'm struggling with my game right now a little bit, but I'm still a confident player. Like, I'm not out there going, oh, God, I don't even want to swing the club. Mm-hmm. Like, my issues right now with my game are more centered around where I am to the green, right? I'm not hitting, my short game is struggling. But going out on a day where it's like a little bit colder and using that in a pre-round routine, and you're like, oh, okay, we're looking at 145 for the 9-iron today instead of 150. Is an interesting way, is an interesting confidence booster in the bag.
Yeah,
right.
I think one thing you have to keep in mind with that though is when you're going to the range is you're also using range balls, and there's no normalization. So like TrackMan, you could use a range ball. There's a normalization button. It's like, hey, this should react like a Pro V1 or a tour level golf ball, and they'll make that.
So it's interesting you say that.
Yeah,
it has that.
Okay, perfect.
So when you get ready to hit balls, it asks if you're using range balls. All right. And so I don't know if it probably does not have the TrackMan algorithm,
but regardless, at least it has something.
Right. So. It is playing that to it, and so I did a little test at home with it. I'm not going to do it on the range because I can't get the balls back.
Right.
But at home, I'm lucky to have 200 yards of open area to hit balls. I hit 10 swings with my own Pro V1Xs, and I hit 10 swings with range balls, and the dispersion chart showed it. Like when I put it in, I was like, not range balls, like, playing with, it didn't ask me what kind of ball, but it was new ball against range balls. It was different, and it showed. So I'm so far impressed, still cautiously optimistic. I'm anxious to get it out onto a real range. My backyard, it said I was at Conestoga because it satellite images you. Yeah. So I'm interested. I'm happy with it so far. I think it's going to be something I use pretty regularly.
How long battery life does that have?
So that's one of the big tests today, because I used it for about an hour and a half and I did not charge it. They say 8 hours. A couple of the reviews I read, like the one guy down in Florida was like, it lasted 25 minutes and my phone overheated. And I'm like, it was probably 140 degrees outside, dude. You're in Florida.
Like, you probably like left it out in the sun.
You're probably like standing on a range with no trees on the hottest day in the world. And like, so I have not.
If your phone overheated, that's not because of the Rapsodo. It's
right.
Because you left your phone out in the sun.
Exactly.
Like a moron.
I'm yet to see any of the negative reviews. Like, so, I mean, I've read all of them, but I have not seen what they complain about yet. I do think that a bunch of the negative reviews were from 2020 and 2021, and it seems like they've fixed some of those bugs. So that's cool. I'm super pumped about it. I'm hoping it helps my game, helps the kids on the team's game, and anybody else that is out of the range with me that's looking to dial themselves in. So so far, so good. We'll give an update, and I want to do like a full like actual review video of it, where like get some footage of hitting at a range and like showing like what's going on, without somebody at the golf course getting upset that we're filming on a range, which usually doesn't happen. But.
No, but I think it would be cool too is I would take it out to the course.
Yeah.
When you on a slow day, get into a situation where it's like 125 yards or whatever, or just drop a ball at 125 yards to the pin, hit the shot, see where it ends up, and see what the Rapsodo says you hit it, and then that'd be cool as well.
No, I think that'd be a ton of fun. So one of the videos on YouTube, a guy does that. He works from like 120 yards in. He does like 120 on a hole, and then the next hole he gets himself to like 80 yards and does it from there and like works it in. It was pretty accurate there. Looked like optimum conditions. I think one of the big things for the Rapsodo on the range specifically is for it to be flat behind you.
Yeah.
Right. So when you get on the course, if you're on a fairway that's like a big incline, like it's probably not going to work as well, but it's certainly something I'd like to give a shot to.
For sure. Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Yeah, guys, we're getting into golf season here. We are, extremely stacked up with product. We were making jokes on Instagram earlier. We have more golf balls than we know what to do with. So, this year before you go to your course and get gouged for pro shop prices, or if you go to that green monster of a store, consider coming to Hold a Pin for your golf balls and support a local business. We have plenty of golf bags this year. I know last year we got into kind of a pickle where we were down to like 4 or 5 golf bags going into the fall. That certainly will not be the case this time around. We've made a huge adjustment there. Mike just set up our brand new apparel wall. It looks awesome. A lot of cool styles for you guys. Really cool presentation as well. Fittings, lead times are definitely better than last year, but still, if it's something that you're looking to get for this season and use for at least half the season, make sure you're getting in sooner than later. Forget fit. That way, some companies are still 6-8 weeks. So we're at that point. That's putting us into July. So just think ahead. Try to get in as sooner than later for that. We do have more clubs in stock this year than we have carried in the past. Trying to have the possibility of it being in store for you, but no guarantees. Really great shoe selection as well right now. So we're really sitting pretty here, ready for you guys to get into your season and do everything we can to help make this your best golf season yet.
Awesome. And want to thank the Painted Lions, as usual, for hosting us on their YouTube channel. We're hoping to get back to a weekly pod. It's just been kind of nuts here lately. For me at work, it gets crazy this time of year because we're getting towards the end of the school year and got to get ready for graduation and all that good stuff. And, Tommy's been swamped in here at the store, and we've also been playing a good bit of golf as well. So,
yeah, for sure.
But hopefully we'll be back next week to get ready for the PGA. Mm-hmm. And other than that, it's time to go.
Yeah, we'll see you.
And broadcast.